So if I say the term portable PlayStation, your mind probably goes into one or two different places. The first place might be the PlayStation Portable itself, also known as the PSP. The PSP was a really unique piece of hardware that Sony manufactured to sort of combat the success that Nintendo was having in their handheld division. It looked better than the DS, it didn't really feel better than the DS, but some of the games there were very, very heavy hitters. You had major first-party Sony franchises being very well represented, new entries in Grand Theft Auto games with side shoot stuff, even Metal Gear made an appearance on the PSP. It was a very well received and very well liked piece of technology. Or you might think about the PS Vita. Once again, another really cool piece of technology, but something that didn't quite have the same sort of success that the PSP had. Sony kind of abandoned it very early as far as first-party titles were concerned, and while there are some hidden gems on the system, unfortunately, it just didn't live up to the pedigree of the PSP. But I'm not here to talk about either of those. Honestly, they're both cool systems, but I'm here to talk about the first portable PlayStation system, the PS1 Combo Pack, something that came out at the end of the PlayStation 1's life cycle that a lot of people just don't ever really talk about, and I managed to get my hands on one of these at Too Many Games because I wanted to make a video on it. I've always been fascinated by this device, but did it live up to my expectations? What is the PS1 combo system? What can it do? And how does that screen look in 2024? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. So if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. But without any further ado, let's check out the PS1 combo system. Alrighty, so here's our PS1 combo system. Obviously released towards the tail end of the PlayStation 1's life cycle. A very interesting piece of video game history, I feel, though, just to see what PlayStation was trying to do. 5-inch LCD screen, which your girlfriend told me is more than enough. Looking at the back of the box here, you can see various accessories, some different sorts of instructions in various languages, but one thing I find very interesting is the lineup of games they're trying to show off here. Obviously, we are at the tail end of the PlayStation 1's life cycle. Opening up the box here, we have various goodies still wrapped in original plastic. This is our external AV cable, should you want to use a different monitor or something like that. I'm not quite sure why you would, because the whole interesting factor of this is the built-in screen, of course. We have our power brick here, which is actually pretty big, but when you consider the fact that this is powering both the unit itself and the screen, I guess it does have to be a bit bigger than your normal sort of power cable for a PS1. We also have our controller here, the DualShock controller. I love this color scheme, the sort of off-white that they went with instead of the more sterile gray that the original PlayStation 1 had. Just a great color scheme. I think it really makes this system stand out as a bit more unique than its, precursor of a platform. Taking the meat and potatoes out of the box here, you could see the system itself. It's pretty tiny. I do have a screen protector on here in case you are wondering what indeed that is. But yeah, it's very small. It's very compact. And I think that's what I like about it, is just how nice everything sort of fits together. You can see some speakers here on the front, along with some various controls. The first control here is for the brightness of the system. The second one is for the volume of the system, which we will take a look at how these built-in speakers sound a little bit later on in the video itself. Now we're going to take a look at the back of the system, and nothing too crazy, although I do find it interesting how there is a headphone jack on here. You could kind of see what Sony's mindset was with this system as far as potentially marketing it. There, of course, is the external AV and the power supply in it as well. But just all in all, a very nice, compact little unit here. I think it's just super cool. Holding it up here, we have our eject button so that we can open up the disc tray, and our power/reset button. So rather standard stuff, but, somewhat interesting to look at, I feel. Of course, you have your slots for the memory cards. It can hold up to 2, and controllers up to 2 as well. Now, some peripherals will work with this unit, some won't. One thing I do find interesting is this built-in hinge, though, because you can kind of get the feeling that this is supposed to be played with this screen. It is built into the system itself. It's a front and back sort of hinge. Nothing too crazy or whatever, but just something I found a bit unique. And now we're going to pop in our memory card and our controller, because it's time to actually play our PS1. You know, the whole reason you would be interested in buying one of these things, because I'm sure people are very interested in how that screen looks. Now, when you boot up the system, everything feels very familiar with that warm, glowing PlayStation 1 logo on there. And then we get into the menu of the system that has memory card and CD player. Memory card is, of course, just memory card stuff. You need to adjust something, move something from one memory card to another, delete something, whatever you need to do. Going over to the CD player, it's pretty basic stuff, shuffle and all that, be able to skip tracks. But one thing I found interesting are these options for different types of audio. So something maybe a little more bassy, a little more trebly or something like that. Just kind of interesting to see this on this portable device. Kind of gives me a glimpse into what, Sony thought could be the future of this system. Now we're going to go ahead and pop in WCW versus the World. In my opinion, the best PlayStation 1 wrestling game because it's the precursor to the awesome N64 Aki engine. After a few seconds, the disc is starting to be red, and we'll get straight into our traditional PlayStation screen. And then, of course, we get into the game itself, and we get a really good look at the screen here. And as you could see, I am very impressed with this screen. The clarity, the colors that are emerging from this screen, you have to think this is very, very dated technology. And I think this looks better than a lot of CRTs did at this time, especially if it was an older CRT. Like, I think this screen is very, very impressive. We're going to take a look at the various controls here, as well as far as adjusting the brightness so you can see, get a kind of a glimpse at how low or how bright you want to go with it. Really, I think it's pretty impressive no matter how you chalk it up. I just like to keep it in the middle. And now we're going to listen to the audio. So obviously the speakers themselves aren't exactly booming, but I do think they are pretty clear, all things considered. I decided to check out Street Skater next on the PlayStation 1. I don't really like this game, but I remember playing it as a kid because it reminded me of Top Skater from Sega. But once again, this is a game that uses a lot of different colors. Like, look at the sky, the blues, the greens that are sort of going on here. And this all looks very, very good. Obviously, I am recording off of a screen, so some of the clarity might get a bit lost on it, but in person, it looks absolutely fantastic. And I do feel like this is doing a good job of sort of conveying that same sort of message. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Well, you're probably, straight on with this. What are kind of, some of the viewing angles that you'll get with this system? Because that was kind of one of the drawbacks of a lot of older TVs and older screens in general, was it can be, very hard to get a decent image with a screen at a various angle. Well, let's change the angle up here to a much more side view, and you could see, like, it's still pretty damn clear. We are clearly not, face to face with this screen, yet we're still getting a very, very nice image here, a very sharp image and a very colorful image, which is really more than you could ask for from a screen from this era, from an LCD screen from this era. Just super impressive how Sony was really able to pull this off, because I think in retrospect, this should have been potentially a bigger deal. Like, it is a portable PS1 system. And of course, the PS1 has an amazing library. We're going to take a look at Die Hard Trilogy here. This is Die Hard 3. I've actually never played this before. I had no idea what was going on. But this game is awesome, dude. Like, there's 3 games on the disc itself. But this game just blew me away. Like, you're running over people, you're hitting cars, you're driving around like a maniac, blood getting on your windshield. Like, very, very cool. It took me a second to sort of understand what I was supposed to do. And the controls are very weird because the analog triggers will make you turn like left or right at like a sort of 90-degree angle just violently. But once again, we're looking at the screen of this, and this screen is just crystal clear. Like, I think this is one of the coolest systems ever, because obviously in the modern era, like, you could probably get a power adapter that utilizes a power bank for this and just plug it in and potentially really have like a legitimate portable PlayStation 1. You know, people use laptops and stuff like that. This is sort of a same sort of build, but it's just so much smaller. So we're going to play a little more gameplay here, and then we're going to get into my final thoughts about the PS1 system. So overall, I am very impressed with this, and it really just comes down to the screen for me. Like, this screen is still good looking in 2024, and that's no sort of nostalgic sort of take or anything like that, because I don't have nostalgia for this sort of screen, but it looks great. The clarity is amazing, the colors look very vibrant, and the speakers, although a bit hollow, definitely sound good enough for me. I'm sure with the headphone jack as well, plugging in some traditional headphones, you get a little bit more of that bassy sort of sound to it, but not really something I could convey in this video. So I guess if you ever get the chance to get one of these combo systems at a decent price, I would definitely do it, especially if you have some PS1 games laying around that you want to play, and maybe you want to play them in a variety of different places. I'm definitely going to look into seeing if there's an adapter that I can buy that kind of goes into a power bank that I can make this like really portable, like really sort of handheld. I guess it would be more so of a lap held, but I mean, people do it with laptops all the time, so why can't I do it with this? Let me know your thoughts on the PS1 combo system in the comment section down below. Did you ever play one of these? Did you own maybe just the individual PS1 without the screen, or do you still have one in your collection today? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Check the links in the description box down below to follow me on various forms of social media, get a cameo if you want me to yell at someone, and check out the Art of N64 Wrestling Games book as well, the official Facebook page where I'm posting memes, updates, and much more. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.